What is something that your profession allows you to do that would otherwise be illegal? I can carry scissors at the airport. When I worked for a bankruptcy trustee, I would break into offices at night and make copies of executives' hard drives to look for hidden financial information or communications that impugn the claims made by corrupt debtors. One time, I was sent into a huge networks operation center down in Miami. The trustee had coordinated with the head of security without the debtor owner's knowledge to secure my access. I showed up with my laptop, tool bag, and flashlight, and the head of security handed me a security card and said, "This will get you access to anywhere in the building. If anyone asks you what you're doing, you have them radio me." It felt very covert, and was by far the most baddest thing I did as part of that job. Oh, and I found a locked QuickBooks file that we cracked and pinned the shitbag for embezzling a bunch of money while trying to stiff creditors. It was glorious. Set off tons of explosives. What song's lyric hit you the hardest? The first time I heard John Prine Sam Stone, I actually gasped when he sang, "There's a hole in daddy's arm where all humanity goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing." I suppose that's rough. You can get addicted to a certain kind of sadness. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the passing of my 16 years old nephew from COVID. He was known for his kindness, humor, and quirky, adorable smile. I was listening to SRV's live version of Life Without You, and it just killed me, especially the line, "We all have missed you," and the way you grin. Follow that up with Stevie's Playing, where you can literally hear the pain dripping off the strings. And I was an absolute wreck. All time, Cats in the Cradle. We'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. What would you do if you woke up with telekinesis? Not tell anyone. Win shitloads of money on roulette. Immediately set about testing and developing my powers privately. How fine control do I have? Can I type with it and tie my shoes? What's the weight limit? Can I move a couch, throw a car? Can I fly? How long can I maintain something? If someone gets all road ragey, can I just make their car pull over and hover a half-inch above the shoulder for half an hour? Can I move people? Can I punch things? I'd keep it a secret as long as possible until I figure out exactly what my capabilities are. Then go watch Chronicle for more ideas. Dude, take it a step further. Can you potentially influence matter on the atomic level? Can you create energy blasts, black holes by influencing matter to collapse on itself? The possibilities are endless. Embrace my username. Older PPL of Reddit who grew up without a phone. How did you spend your free time in your 20s? Drove around aimlessly, hung out at coffee shops, went to movies and concerts, walked around parks and the mall, played video games, went to diners with friends, played card and board games, sat out in the dark, and watched falling stars. Gen X checking in. God, do I miss those days. One night, my friend and I were bored, so we just went for a walk. We walked for hours all around our neighborhood, just talking about life and the past and the future, with no way of anyone contacting us. Life was never better than it was right then and there. I grew up in the 70s, so few electronic diversions. A few people had games like Pong or very basic Atari stuff, but my family didn't. I spent my downtime reading or listening to records, but I also fished, or just messed about in boats. Don't forget about spending the next week talking about that thing everyone saw on TV. Everyone saw it because it was hyped for 2 weeks on one of the only 3 channels that we had. For me, it was usually an SNL skit. Physically disabled users of Reddit. What are some less commonly talked about struggles that come with your disability? Urinary incontinence and the cost associated with it. A vast people with my condition struggle with incontinence, but we don't talk about it. I've had incontinence since I was 12 years old. I was so embarrassed that I didn't tell anyone for years. I had to buy diapers behind my parents' back. I also always smelled really bad. The diapers would leak or the pads I used would fall off, so I would just leak urine all the time. It was so embarrassing. I would have to change my pants multiple times a day to not smell. Well, I consulted a doctor and there's nothing they can do for me. I'm 22 now and have lost almost complete control of my bladder. People don't understand that leaks are inevitable and happen occasionally. I get absolutely roasted for having leaks. My friends still make comments to me when I buy diapers and thick urinary pads despite knowing my condition. People only accept disability until it's embarrassing, not to mention the cost. I'm a broke 22-year-old college student living on my own in law. 10 diapers from the only brand that won't leak are $28. Think about how many times you use the bathroom a day. Yeah, that's just one cost of my disability. There's so many more. What's the most useless thing you've ever bought? A full-size pool table with all the accessories including a display case for the cues, racks, and balls, plus a special pool table lamp to hang overhead. Shortly after it arrived, we had to move. The new place had no room for it. The groceries that go bad in my fridge or pantry before I get around to using them. Bought insurance for my camera should it ever be stolen. Never once or since have I bought insurance like that. My camera was eventually stolen at work, and I had a police report filed along with footage of the incident. The insurance company was unreachable. Their phone number disconnected. Bought a book called How to Be Happy was freaking depressing instead. I've read it. What is something you wish other men would stop doing? Making fun of their friend in front of girls to look cool. Leaving public toilets in such a state. Oh, trust me, men's restrooms have nothing on what women do to public restrooms. If she says no, just move on lol, don't linger. You're doing yourself and her both a favor.